Well, I'm still deep in the middle of derusting and painting on the Lomax just at the moment. Um, Yesterday I spent a great deal of time thoroughly pissing off the neighbours um, and myself, wire brushing off the top of the chassis and the sides a little bit, and then coating with one of those anti-rust phosphoric coatings. Um, Now the chassis is not too bad. It has a patch here. As you can see, the floor here is a little bit etched. This, you might see here, this straight line across here. That's where the front of the body sits on the 2CV, and this is where the bulkhead, the engine bulkhead part sits. So it tends to get quite nasty under here, and it's a common rust point. So as you can see, you've got this strip across. This is the bit where the metal sits against the metal, so it's not too bad. Here's the inside the car and the footwell, and of course in this case this will be the sort of driver's side. This is where the wet from your feet is going to eat into the metal. As you can see, it's rotted away a bit, the folded over there yet. So anyway, so this is going to be painted, but in the process I've still got things like the front cross member axle to find some way of dealing with, and the tank over there is now, that's derusted, had a phosphoric coating, 2 coats of red oxide, and I've been doing the same with the front axle, the rear axle I should say. But what I noticed was that one of the arms, the little cut off one over there, was really rough when you were turning it on the axle here. So I've had to pull it apart, and frankly it's going to be the easiest way of cleaning up properly these and painting them, because you simply can't get into these without doing so. Anyway, it's a relatively simple method of removal, but the amusing part is that in all practical purposes they are the world's largest set of motorcycle headstocks. If this was the centre tube of your lower tree, or so the part that comes up through here, or I should say through here, and bolts on, only instead of having, and it's got, let me just get this here, this could be it, that's the seal, there we go. It actually has the same sort of castellated nut that tightens it down as you do on a motorbike, and let me just, so the axle just sits, just slots into there, and the threads poke through, which you won't be able to see because it's dark, poke through and tighten down with that axlellated nut. And you've got a taper roller bearing. There's a taper roller bearing, goes, so you put it in with the taper roller bearing, you drop the taper roller bearing in on here, screw down the castellated nut, and that's really it. It is exactly like, as I say, if you look in there, that's like the world's biggest motorcycle headstock bearing. It's exactly the same techniques for removal, but looking at the one that that I removed and I drifted off, it's not really focusing very well, and my battery's about to go flat. That's not focusing at all. Well, anyway, that's really quite bad. As you can see there, that surface is really pitted, and it's the same in here. So this really isn't focusing, but this surface here is quite pitted, and although it might not show up, oh here we go, look at that, there we go, there's some dents, some needle roller sized dents in that. These things don't really move more than a few degrees as the suspension is rolling, but those are dead. I'd hope not to have to replace this sort of stuff at this point in the build. I wanted to get back on the road and then deal with this stuff, but frankly I think I'm going to have to do these. So that's like doing 4 sets of headstock, motorcycle headstock bearings. Great, good fun. Well, that's the next job. So they're going to go on order. I'm probably going to have to buy them from ECAS, although I do have an SKF bearing here. I don't know how available they are. So anyway, so there we go. Next job. Moving on.